there have been some recent allegations, scandalous allegations that have been filed against Sean Carter, no relation to me, aka Jay-Z, in relations to the P. Diddy case. On December 8th, Jay-Z was named as a defendant in a lawsuit linked to allegations against Diddy. There was a Jane Doe who alleged that when she was 13 years old in the year 2000, when she was SA'd after attending the MTV Music Awards after party. The plaintiff claims she was outside of the party and a limousine driver ran up on her and said, "Get in the car." And she got in the car and went to the after party, where she said that she was lured into a room. There was no furniture in the room. It was just a bed, Jay-Z and Diddy. I believe there was another unnamed person there. And then she said she was assaulted by Jay-Z while Diddy watched. Diddy did some of the same shit after, all right? This is all allegedly. And then she says, after she fled the scene, went to a gas station and called her father to pick her up. To me, this sounds like there's some holes in the plot. The reason this lawsuit was able to be filed 24 years later is because New York State recently extended the statute of limitations for cases like this. You know why they did that? They did that so they can charge Trump with stuff. New York State changed the laws to charge Trump with crimes. He's still president and ain't in jail. Only person who went down for this shit is Diddy. Trump's already making change, is what I'm trying to say. He hasn't even been elected yet, and he's already getting the criminals off the street. Wait, I was going somewhere with this. Okay. I'm being careful the way I say this because Jay-Z's a billionaire. I don't really want no beef with him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no beef with a billionaire, right? It's all alleged. To be clear, this is not a criminal case. This is a lawsuit, which I always find weird. If this person committed a crime, why are they going after money instead of putting them behind bars? I'm not saying that means anything. I just personally find it weird. And then when the victim says she went to a gas station, called her dad, told her dad what happened, and nothing came of it until 24 years later, I just don't know, right? Like if something like that happened to one of your children, would you wait 24 years to file a lawsuit? Would you file a lawsuit? I don't know. I think most rational people would try to get that person put in prison. Or if you're the kind of guy who thinks it's okay for your 13-year-old daughter to be running the streets at night, in the middle of the night, you probably wouldn't go the legal route if you found out something like that. You'd probably be doing something different. I don't know. It all sounds a little strange to me. That's what I thought initially. And then I heard more about the lawyer. So the lawyer's name is Tony Busbee. And Busbee's attorney that represents multiple plaintiffs against Diddy. In fact, Tony had a billboard up with a number on it that said, "If you've been assaulted by Diddy, call this number." So he's out here looking for cases against Diddy. And he said that over 3,000 people had called that number, said that Diddy did something to him. Now, listen, I don't think that Diddy is innocent, but 3,000? It's like, if he did that to 3,000 people while building multiple businesses that made him a billionaire, then he might be the most productive human ever. That's some Leonardo da Vinci shit. If he was able to build these huge businesses, come out with huge albums, produce all these artists, run businesses, a clothing line, a liquor line, a huge record label, and be an artist while doing all this to 3,000 people, how'd he do it? What's his calendar look like? Tony Busbee was out here looking for people to charge, because that's what he does. But he did have a billboard that said, "If Diddy assaulted you, man, don't go to the police. Call me." There's a countersuit. We believe Jay-Z filed it, but we're not sure. They're suing Tony Busbee for extortion because allegedly Tony sent him a letter saying that he might be named in this lawsuit. If they have some mediation, we can just get this taken care of privately. I don't know how much you guys know about the legal system. Almost never is mediation done without trying to get some of this money. Mediation means, hey man, how much you gonna pay us for us to shut up? Jay-Z is suing Tony Busbee for extortion. But he was suing them for extortion before he was named in this lawsuit. So Tony been trying to get his bread off hold for him. I don't know what to believe. Obviously, I think, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. But if he's guilty of something so heinous, why not a criminal suit? Now, Jay-Z issued a statement, and it didn't look like it was written by a lawyer. Here's a statement that Jay-Z posted via Rock Nation. He said, "My lawyers have received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busbee. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give one red penny. These allegations are so hideous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. It goes on, but he's basically vehemently denying this shit, right? He says he's not gonna settle. I don't even remember when Cassie first filed her suit against Diddy, he settled with the quickness. But Hov says now he's not gonna settle. We'll see what happens. I always thought, listen, if you're innocent, don't settle. Fight that shit if you're innocent. Because there are people who will try to extort someone because they feel like a lot of people will just settle so they don't have to deal with it. They don't have to deal with the issue. It doesn't get out publicly. And then a lot of times people just settle for that reason, celebrities. I'm not saying Jay-Z is innocent or guilty. I'm not saying this is extortion or not. I'm not saying nothing, mainly because I don't want no one to sue me for anything. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking to the men. Remember, who's the guy, the YouTuber? He's like a vampire. He's trying to live forever. He don't want to die. And he's always talking about how he don't want to die. Yeah, the white guy, man. Brian Johnson. This happened to Brian Johnson, right? His ex-girlfriend or fiance or something, they broke up and she was trying to sue him for all types of shit. She was trying to sue him. Now, it was a civil suit. It wasn't a criminal case. It was a civil suit. She was trying to get some of that paper. And Brian was like, nah, I ain't do that shit. I'm a fight it. He fought it the whole time. And he beat the case, made her look crazy, and she had to pay. That's what all men should do. If you're accused of some shit, do not settle that shit. Fight that shit every time, because I'm not speaking on this case, but there is an industry, a legit industry, where they're going after people, accusing them of stuff just to get the settlement. This is happening. And when Diddy settled his case, the civil case, I think we all was like, yeah, he definitely did that, right? I think that was the general consensus. So if Jay does not settle, if he fights this 100%, it means something. If he settles, then it's like, ooh, that's really gonna fuck up all my playlists. Cause my playlists are already fucked up right now. I had to take off basically everything from Bad Boy Records, apologize to Kendrick Lamar like a bitch. So all J. Cole's songs had to come out. Then I thought, all right, Drake, you don't have to win the battle, but you gotta at least put up a good fight. No, this nigga gets embarrassed. And now he's suing. So now I'm just listening to R&B now. Man, I'm listening to 70s or Marvin Gaye. I can't even listen to no rap no more, right? If this shit happens, if I can't have Hov on my playlist, then it's over for me, man. I want him to be proven innocent. One, for my playlist, but more importantly, because if he didn't do anything, then that means nobody was assaulted. It's weird to me that people are so eager to want him to be guilty, because if he's guilty, that means that a child was hurt. If nothing else, I hope this did not happen, because that means a child was not hurt. It looks like he's fighting it. We're gonna stay tuned. But here's the thing, man. I know people who have been accused of stuff and had to fight it. They were accused of stuff that wasn't true. There was a baseball player, Trevor Brewer, I think his name was, right? He had won a bunch of awards and he had a contract coming up that was gonna give him like millions. And then this girl accused him of SA. Then the documents came out. There was text messages of her saying that she was gonna do this to him to get some money. And then there was a video of her the next morning after she was allegedly assaulted, of her filming him while he was sleeping and she's smiling and laughing. I'm just saying, this shit happens. I think we should all reserve judgment until we get more details. There are some foul men out here who should get punished and put in jail, but there are also people who are falsely accusing multimillionaires to get some bread. I think there should be no civil cases. I think it should be like, all criminal cases. This way, I think that eliminates it. That means if there's all criminal cases, that means the bad guys get put in jail. There's nobody falsely accusing anyone. There's one more hole in the plot. All the other cases, like almost all the other cases that Diddy has, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were all people he knew. They were all people in his world, people he had relationships with, or people who worked for him, staff. None of them were strangers. This is the first time that a stranger was involved in one of these cases that we know of, that's been made public. Like it was people in his circle. He was abusing the people around him, allegedly, right? But this one time it's a stranger. It's odd. It's odd because that doesn't seem like his MO. If you fuck around and get some money and become rich and or famous, and something like this happens to you, because it's a possibility, right? It happened to Brian Johnson. It happened to the baseball player. Fight it. Don't give them these motherfuckers nothing. We talked a lot about the allegations against Jay-Z, but recently the alleged victim, I don't even want to call her that, I don't know, the accuser, she did an interview with NBC talking about what allegedly happened that night, and it's insane. Let's watch some of it.
But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof Jobril ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
I don't know what that meant, right? But she got a little bit of autism, and I ain't trying to diss her for that. I'm just saying is worth noting.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive.
Where? How on earth are we supposed to believe that someone who was driving the age drove a 13-year-old 5 hours from bullshit Rochester to Manhattan and just left her there? Say, hey, you're gonna figure out how to get home yourself. That shit don't sound crazy to you? Now, she do got a little bit of autism. Maybe he was like high school kid playing a joke on him, but I just find this all hard to believe. All right, let's keep going.
Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says,
oh, how convenient. The friend is not alive to tell her part of the tale. All right.
She spoke to Combs's limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House.
We don't know where the friend is anymore. The friend just left a fucking child in Manhattan 5 hours away from home. Already I'm calling bullshit, but here's where it gets crazier.
Says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background.
All right. So she's talking to Benji about his tattoo. She really liked it because it's the Last Supper and she got a religious background, and this is a vivid account. What does Benji have to say?
So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time.
These motherfuckers wasn't even there. She's talking to this motherfucker about the tattoo, you know what I'm saying? And having, man, his religious tattoo. This motherfucker wasn't even there, man. Let's continue.
Drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns her while a female celebrity watched.
Away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
Remember, her friend is just gone. Let's see what the dad has to say.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview.
Whoa. Remember, her dad lives 5 hours away. Imagine you got a daughter and she got a little bit of autism, right? So you probably already worried. She says, come pick me up. I'm in Manhattan, right? You already tripping. And then you drive 5 hours. And then she says that they did not talk. They rode in silence. Remember, 5 hours away. This motherfucker rode her back 5 hours. Didn't think to ask his daughter, hey, what are you doing in Manhattan? What happened to you? How'd you end up in the gas station? What kind of fathers behave like that? Maybe there are absentee fathers, but the kind of father who would drive 10 hours for his daughter in the middle of the night doesn't sound like the same father who's not gonna ask no questions about why you in Manhattan crying at the gas station. They don't sound like the same kind of person to me. Let's see what the father had to say.
With NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind, he said. When we asked the woman...
Yeah. It wouldn't have to be my daughter. It could be a cousin, a friend, anybody. If they said they needed me to pick them up 5 hours away, they were in trouble, and then I had to drive another 5 hours back, a 10-hour ride, I would remember that shit. Even if it was 24 years ago. I remember way stupider shit than that from 2000. I know every word of Nelly's first album. You know what I'm saying? I remember all types of shit from the year 2000. There's no way I would have forgot some shit like that, especially if it was my goddamn daughter.
Woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statements. I have made some mistakes, she said. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me. The inconsistencies in her account of an incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago does not necessarily mean the allegations are false.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because if you tell me you had a fucking full-on conversation with a motherfucker who was in another state, I'm not going to believe that. You're going to tell me the dad can't even corroborate the shit. Ho's lawyer did an interview too.
Tonight, Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, is pushing to get a judge to dismiss the lawsuit against his client, citing an NBC News exclusive that found inconsistencies with the accuser's account.
We expect Mr. Carter to be fully cleared of
not me.
all of this in the coming days. Almost nothing that she says has checked out because this never happened.
This in the wake of our interview with a 38-year-old mother from Alabama. In a follow-up phone interview, we asked her about the contradictions, and she said that she stands by her statements.
This woman is standing by her story. It happened over 20 years ago. Maybe her memory is hazy. Maybe her father doesn't remember that night.
No, the father will remember. If I have to drive 10 hours for any reason, I'm going to remember that shit.
No, she's doubled down on certain of these details. She says, I'm positive. She points out the tattoo. She talks about the tattoo in vivid detail. Turns out that's completely false. And the father is supposed to be picking her up. 10-hour drive round trip to pick her up in the middle of the night. Has no memory of that. No one has come forward about this in nearly a quarter of a century, and that's because this never happened.
Spiro said he's not only seeking justice for Jay-Z, he says that he also wants to expose the accuser's attorney, Tony Busbee.
He takes away the voices from real victims, and he causes real harm.
That's the thing, man. You take away the voices from real victims when you do this bullshit.
If this lawyer has any sense, he's going to dismiss this claim. I don't know whether he has any sense.
Busbee, who has filed more than 20 lawsuits against Combs, told NBC News that he is continuing to vet the accuser's claims and that she has agreed to undergo a polygraph this week. A representative for Combs called the suit a shameless money grab.
Since your attorneys refiled the lawsuit against Combs naming Jay-Z, he has come out with a very long statement saying that this is completely not true.
We read his statements earlier.
And that this is all about trying to get money from him. What do you say about that?
I haven't asked for a dime from it.
Shut up. It's a civil suit. It's a lawsuit. It's going to be fucking money. The only ramifications from a civil suit is you either pay money or you don't. It's not a criminal suit. He's not facing jail time. He's facing if he's going to have to pay money. When you sue someone, you sue them for money.
It's not everything is motivated by money, and I'm sorry that he feels that it is.
Shut up.
This woman also told us on camera last week that this isn't about money.
Well, let's be serious. A lawyer like this is not sending out these letters not to make money. He wants money and fame. He doesn't care about truth and justice. And that's what's going on here.
Funny, you know, something else is going on with the lawyer. There's a Uno reverse card. Check this out. So the lawyer is being sued now for giving a woman a venereal disease. He was hitting something raw and he gave her something. And now she's suing him, man. She's suing us, so it's like a little Uno reverse on this bitch, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a Jane Doe. According to this new suit file, New York Supreme Court, the accuser identified as Jane Doe says Busbee has taken advantage of her. Poor woman. In 2018, goddamn. When they first met during an online conversation. Man, so he met this girl online and then infected her with all types of shit. I don't even know what it is, man, but it sound nasty. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. The woman said that Texas-based lawyer charmed charmed her and convinced her to go out on a date with him. She says she ventures to Busbee's hometown of Houston to grab dinner with him before they took in the show. After the performance, the woman says Busbee booked a room at a 5-star hotel. Yeah, I know that move. Where he seduced her. Ugh. The two allegedly had sexual intercourse without Busbee revealing that he had a venereal disease. Ugh. Which is not specifically named in the suit. What y'all think it was? You think he looked like more of a herpes guy or more of a gonorrhea guy? She left the hotel the next day. She spent the night. Started to feel uncomfortable sensations in her groin, prompting her to meet with a doctor who tested and determined she had sexually transmitted disease from her encounter with Busbee. She contacted Busbee to deliver the bad news. He apologized to her, but seemed unsurprised because she claimed he already knew he had the disease. Woman goes on to say Busbee asked her not to disclose the diagnosis to anyone and vowed to provide free legal advice as compensation. He said, don't even worry, man. I give you some free legal advice. Don't worry about the itchiness, man. Oh, she was filled with shame and grief, but continued to hook up with Busbee. I guess she figured, listen, I already got it. You can't get double herpes, allegedly. Now that I got the shit, I can't fuck motherfuckers, regular motherfuckers. I can only fuck motherfuckers with the shit. He got the shit, so guess I'm screwed. Busbee, who allegedly kept her on a short leash so he could manipulate her into keeping his secret under wraps. He should have wrapped something else up, Busbee. The woman says Busbee invited her on trips to Panama, NYC. TMZ broke the story. According to the complaint the woman filed last month, Busbee flew into a rage and pushed a champagne flute into her face while they were at a bar during a trip to the NYC. So this man attacked this woman after filling her up with diseases, allegedly. Awful, man. Do he look like somebody who would do that? Y'all just let me know, man. The woman says she has both medical and dental records to prove she suffered the injuries, including a chipped tooth. Busbee tells EMC this lawsuit is a criminal conspiracy to discredit and intimidate him from his claims in the Diddy litigation. He calls the suit false, frivolous, laughable, and ridiculous. Those are a lot of adjectives. And will be dismissed along with other suits. Other suits? Uh-oh. He has reported the lawyer who has filed the latest suit to the relevant legal authorities and will be taking legal action against him and his client. Looks like Busbee getting a little taste of his own medicine. Back to the Jay-Z shit. I don't really give a fuck about Busbee like that. I just thought it was kind of humorous. That woman's story sounds insane. Who's dropping off 13-year-olds 5 hours away in Manhattan? That doesn't sound like reality. That shit doesn't happen. And then her dad picks her up and then they drive 5 hours back in silence. She said that. No, the same kind of dad who's gonna drive 10 hours round trip to pick up his daughter in the middle of the night doesn't sound like the same type of dad who would just be like, get in and not say nothing to her as a result. They don't sound like the same type of people. You know what I'm saying? He sounds like a dad who cares about his daughter. He drop everything and start driving in the middle of the night to pick her up. Even her own story doesn't check out multiple times. Like that musician she had a whole fucking conversation with wasn't even in the same state, right? And the dad's like, nah, man, I would have remembered that. Of course you would have. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think happened? Leave a comment.